This is a 2007 Subaru Outback that we just recently purchased, and we pretty much like everything about the car except for the seats, particularly my wife. She's started referring to it as the Brokeback now because she can hardly ride in it for 10 minutes without her back really starting to hurt her. And so I thought I would look at the back of the seat and see if I couldn't try to do something with it to at least improve the situation. She's tried all kinds of adjustments. We bought pads for the seat and everything else, and it's still, some of it's helped, but it hasn't really alleviated the problem. So I got the back off the seat, and I actually had my wife in here earlier, and she sat in the seat, and I pulled back on some of this stuff, and I wanted her to tell me if it felt better or worse or whatever. And what I've determined is these little springs here, there's some up there too, there's one here, and then there's one here and one here. They're pretty, they hold this, this is the lumbar support. I'll kind of show you how that works. You pull the lever and it pushes in with the little cable, and then when you undo it, it lets loose of it. And it seems like the problem is it's always in some, you can never completely relieve the lumbar support. It's always pressing on your lower back. And so what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to see if I can find some different length springs, or if not length, different tension. I'll just have to see what I can get my hands on. But she said it really helped when I pulled back on this tension that this had, and she was able to kind of sink into the seat a little bit. So I'm curious to see if that will help her out with her back hurting so bad after riding in this thing. Something else that I also noticed, this is attached to the headrest, and this really presses. There's a wire spring thing here, and that really presses into your upper back. And you can kind of, I'll move that, you can kind of see where it's attached to the headrest. But I was pushing on the headrest, and it relieved the pressure on her upper back, and she said that really helped as well. So I might kind of pull on this spring a little bit and see if I can't slightly reduce the tension that's putting on the upper back, and maybe that might help a little bit as well. So I'll get the stuff, and then I'll see how it works out. I went out and picked up some different springs to put in this, and they didn't have a whole much to choose from, but I did find some that lengthwise from the end of the hook to the end of the hook, it was a hair longer and a lot looser spring. They didn't need as much tension or force to spread them apart. And I put all 4 of those in there, on both, 2 on each side. And now the seat, it holds the mechanism in place, but it doesn't push on the back of the seat until you sit in it, and then there's support when you sit in it. And the lumbar functions properly now. It's got the springs that keep everything in place. So we're going to take it for a drive, and then we're going to see how much of an improvement it made, if any. We just took it on about a 25-minute drive. My wife drove, and her words were it's infinitely improved, but it's not 100%. It's her back's not killing her now after that, so that says something there. But there still is some discomfort after a while in her kind of in her leg, and I notice it too, but I don't, it just doesn't affect me quite as bad. It's kind of right in your right lower back, upper thigh, your butt, you know, after being in it for a while, I notice it too, and I've tried adjusting it out. I haven't driven it with it like this yet, but if it's a big improvement for her, I'm sure I'll notice it too. So it's sort of a subjective thing too. Some people, you might be able to swap out 2 of the springs and leave the other ones stock, and or you know, you just have to kind of mess around with it and experiment. But if you have a Subaru seat that has lumbar control in it and it's killing your back, or it's just miserable to drive, this is something you could try out. Won't make it 100%, but it might improve the situation.